Yeah,
Hi, good evening,
yeah, good
Jiaming.
evening.
Okay, yeah. So this week, the assignment needs us to talk about our research, the proposed research of study. So today, I would like to share uh, some relevant information about my uh, proposed research, the purpose statement of my proposed research, as well as the research questions, and I'll explain how these elements will align. Okay, so my proposed research is about evaluating the economic effect of adopting transgenic soybean species. As we know, soybean is a very important crop, widely planted in the United States, which can be used as food for human, feed to livestock, or will be crushed for oil. This is the soybean. There is a soybean disease, which is commonly observed in the United States. So this disease is called sudden death syndrome. The abbreviation is SDS. So the sudden death syndrome will cause the leaves of the soybean infected to dry and the final death of the soybean. So this is a very severe problem because it will greatly reduce the yield of the soybean planted. In order to resolve this problem, so biologists have tried to modify the genes of the soybean and develop a soybean species which was resistant to the sudden death syndrome. This newly developed species was called sudden death syndrome resistant soybean. Although this newly developed species has been created and some planters have tried to plant them, but still we're not aware whether this new soybean species will benefit or harm the society, and what economic impact that the adoption of this new species might bring to the society. Okay, so as the uh, sudden death syndrome resistant soybean is a newly developed species, studies about the economic impact of adopting this new species is still blank in the literature. Uh, just because of this, I think this is a very valuable gap which needs to be investigated. Okay, so the above is the background of my study. The purpose statement of my research is to evaluate the potential economic impact that the adoption of the sudden death syndrome resistant soybean might bring to the society in order to evaluate whether adopting it uh, deserves to be planted and how much economic value it might bring to the society. Okay, to conduct this research, there are two research questions which I think uh, that need to be answered. To be specific, my research questions will be the first one is what is the numerical relationships among the aggregated demand and the aggregated supply, as well as the components of the aggregated demand and the aggregated supply. For example, like the components like the crush, export, stocks, etc. Concerning the aggregated supply, like the production and harvested area. Okay, the second research question is how much changes will the adoption of the sudden death syndrome resistant soybean bring to the social welfare? For example, the change brought to the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. Okay, the changes in the consumer surplus and the producer surplus will be a reasonable measure of the changes to social welfare. Thus, I will plan to use this measure. In the year of 2014, Austin ever provided a framework in his study about the Roundup Ready soybean, which is another transgenic soybean species. I think their framework was pretty useful, so I plan to adopt it in my study. The purpose of my study and the research questions align with each other because the study is going to explore how these components are related to each other and how much change in one will bring to the changes in another. And then based on this analysis, the changes in social welfare will be measured so that we can see whether the implementation of this new soybean species will benefit or harm the planters and the consumers. Okay, so this will realize the purpose of this study and give the readers a clear idea about what economic impact the adoption of this species will bring to the society. I think this study should be a very important topic, not only because it contributes to the blank in the literature, but also because the results of the analysis will provide some useful guidance to the planters of this soybean species, telling them whether to adopt the sudden death syndrome resistant soybean species or just abandon it. So the above is my proposed research. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a very interesting topic about the SDS resistant soybean and its economic impacts. So I heard about your in my understanding, it's a qualitative research, right?
Yeah. Well, we have to identify the variables and explore the relationships among them and see how they're related.
Yeah, sure. So I have one question for the first problem you mentioned. So
Yeah.
do you have a plan to like how can you collect those like demand and supply data to fit a relationship?
Yeah, the data can be obtained from the website of USDA, the Agriculture Department of the United States. So they're pretty public, open to the public, so we can download them for free.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Then I think it will be a really good topic, and yes, because you already did the design and find a way very comprehensively. So I think yeah, it's a pretty good research topic.
Okay. Yep. Thank you for appreciation. And
Wish you wish
yeah.
you all the best on the continuously research. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, have a good night.
Okay. Yeah. You too.